Hello guys, today I'm gonna talk about an important tool and useful tool with name of NetCDF Extractor 2.1. First of all, I prefer to mention important tips about this tool that it is so useful and easiest tool that I ever use it because in comparison with other available tools such as Panoply, you can easily use it without any concern. You can extract many files with merging all of them, and so I some of the persons satisfied to use it. Okay, at the first step I want to speak about this icon. At this icon you can open the small files and as well calculating grid numbers of the file. So I click it. When you click this icon, you can face with this window and you can browse your file. So at this step I have different files from AgriMetSoft dataset. I click the first one. After a while you can see the content of this file with four different variables such as period, time, latitude and latitude as well. So by click this triangle you can see different attributes and as well the coordinates of these variables. So at this step we want to calculate the grid number of this file. So I click latitude of that file and I see at this panel latitude 720, the dimension of the file. So as you can see here, it is started from 89.875 and you can see the last number is minus 89.875. These are all the coordinates of this file, and as you mentioned, as you can see here, you can see the difference between each cells, and these numbers refer to the center of each cells that you can calculate the variable, the intent variable. So for calculating the grid number, first of all we should attention to this point. So when you want to calculate grid number, you should press this icon and this window would be open here. So I click clear, and after that, as you see here, the first number is 89.8075. Okay, here as I mentioned before, it is the value of the center of this each cell. So it's better to write 19 and here minus 19. Okay, the number of grid this icon is related to the dimension latitude, and you can see the number here. So at this place you can write this number here, and for example, my station located in Iran with name of Mashhad. So at this point I write to latitude of this station 36.26. It depends on your station. Obviously it is different with your example. So check this icon here, lat or long. Definitely it is latitude. Here it is, pay attention to this. Okay, as latitude is okay, and press calculate. So your grid number with lat is 2015. So capture it for calculating other related process 215. Okay, and now for the next step I want to calculate latitude of that cell. So I click latitude, and after that I want to calculate the grid number of this. Okay, so I click this icon. Before this, please pay attention for the data that start from 0.125 and up to this one, 359.875. Okay, it's so important that don't make a mistake for calculating the grid number. It is so important. The first one is a start from 0, and it is better for that one to write 3, 5, 9, 9, 9. If you write here 316, 316 it consists with 9 and you face a mistake, so it is better to write this value. Okay, and the grid number of latitude is, you can see it here, so we can write 1440, and the longitude of my station is equal to 59.63. So pay attention to this point that you should click this icon. It's related to longitude, so please click is longitude, and after that press calculate, and you can easily this number 239, and it is related to the grid number, so capture this value for the related process. Okay, you can click back. At this step you have the grid number of your cell, so you can easily calculate and extract the variable, your intent variable. So if you want to merge different file, you can click this icon, the second one. Okay, I click it. After that I browse my intent file and see for my data format of file. It's related to AgriMetSoft dataset. I click Control A to highlight all of them and then open. Okay. In this panel you can see all the file related to AgriMetSoft dataset. It is start 1980 and up to 2010. Pay attention to this panel. It's related to time dimension. If you can see here, if you scroll here, you can see merge all files in time, start from 1 to 11/30/23, and it's I mean that refer to all the years for all the files related to AgriMetSoft dataset from 1980 up to 2010. So pay attention to the variable name. It depends on the kind of data set or maybe every source of data. So if I open one of them, I can see the main variable of this file is period. I mean that it's obviously refer to the precipitation data. So I click here and write exactly this variable. Pay attention, don't make a mistake for typing and writing this variable. Okay, you load it. After you can click load. When you click load, this panel is activate here. Dimensions, you can see time is unlimited in different files of NC format of data. This is so routine. One of them is time, another latitude, and the other is longitude, and the time commonly is unlimited. Okay, if you attention to this value, it starts from 1, so you can start it from 1. Latitude, it refers to the grid number that you calculate. It's equal to 2015, and the longitude is 239. So it is better to capture it at the previous step. And for this step, it depends your I mean that aim. If you want to calculate, for example, 2 years of your data, you can write the number, for example, 7031. It depends your I mean that your aim, and it's everything that you want to calculate, you can write it here. For latitude, it's related to the cell. For example, for the cell with the grid number of 2015 with latitude and longitude 239, I want to read one cell, so click write 1 and here 1. I mean that I need one of the cells, so I click it, I write it 1 for latitude and the other for longitude 1 as well. So I click extract data, After a while, you can see the data at this panel. Okay, you know, the the value of precipitation data for the related cell is 0. Okay, and after the extract is happened, you can see the time, the dimension here, it's added at this step, and you can see all the data that you write it here, the number 731, and you can see it is equal, the last one is 731. Okay, if you want to extract different cells, for example, 2 for latitude, and it may be 3 for longitude. So you have 6 cells of this data. You want to extract 6 of data with this, that coordinates and grid number. So if I want to extract them, click here, extract. And after a while, you can see the value of this data at this table. Okay. For this, selection, all the data is equal to 0, and you can see it here. Okay, as I mentioned before, for the first day or the first time, all the grid, the cell value are equal to 0. If you want to change it, for example, to 14, you can see the number of precipitation here. In this tool, we didn't convert the dimension, the dimension of the file, and all of them are exactly equal to your source of data. It depends on your source of data, and we didn't do any conversion. So if you can suppose very well, you can perceive all the mean very well as well. At this step, you can see that we have 3 dimensions. One of them here, time, the other is latitude, and the third one is longitude. We can show 3 dimensions in a table, so we separate one of them, that is time here, and we show the other, latitude and longitude, at this table. Okay, if you want to see the data in different format of show, you can see here data in 2 styles, the first style and the second style. For better imagination, I prefer to see to refer to my website here in AgriMetSoft.com. If you click product, and after that in commercial tools, NetCDF Extractor, click here, you can see different styles of this tool here. It's better for better imagination. The style 1, you can see here the first dimension is related to refer to time 1, and it's continue at the end of the time value. The other is related to lat 1, long 1, lat 1, long 2, lat 1, long 3, and the rest of the data. The style 2 refers to another format of data. For example, here, time for time 1 for the first day, or it depends on your data. Every another part of data. So you can see time here. Lat here, lat 1, lat 2, lat 3, it refers to latitude, and long 1, long 2, and blah 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 for longitude. In the style 2, you can see time 1 and this lat and long with this data. At the second one, that for time 2, you can see this table, and as for time 3 and the other, the rest of the file. So you can save your data in a style 1 or maybe in a style 2. It depends on your the selection. So you can see 2 style here. If you click it here, you can see the style 1, 215 for latitude and 731 for latitude. You can trace the data here, and this one is related to time, such as that example that I showed to you in my website. Okay, if you want to calculate the summation of your data for these cells, you can click sum, and you can see summation of precipitation data for your, that extraction from 1 up to 731. It is started from 1 up to that here 731. So you can easily by click sum see this sum of all the 6 cells that you select here. And if you want to calculate the average of data, you can click here average and see the average of all the data here. For example, all the data that you want to calculate. Okay. And if you want to save your data in an Excel file, you can click Save to File, and after that write something such like this, AgriMetSoft, for example. And for example, I want to save it here with XLSX and save it. And then you can see this message, the file was saved successfully, and you can check it here. And this is here. Before it's open, you can see that you have another things here, so, for summation, for average, and like this, and you can easily save it in an Excel file or CSV file, and like this. Excuse me, for save the data, you can click it here, and after that, for example, in the desktop, you can write, for example, tr AgriMetSoft data like this, everything that you want for the name of the data. And the format of file should be in CSV, and after that click save, and the file was successful. And you can write here, see them, the AgriMetSoft data, the average of data. If you want to calculate summation of data, you can click summation, and if you want to extract the raw data, you can before the summation you can do it. And for the style, I spoke about them. The other important option is draw the graphs here, 2D graphs. I click it 2D graphs here. We use different format of graphs here, the contour graph and the heat graphs here. By clicking on the contour graph, you can draw a contour graph here. All the settings is, for example, for latitude, the tool recognize the variable here, latitude. For latitude, recognize it, and for the main variables, you can see it here. Pure rate, it refers to precipitation. It depends on your data. For example, some of the data refers to temperature, humidity, and like this. You can use a domain. With use a domain, you can select different from the start of domain at the end, or maybe for the the simple write, you can for example, the contour text size is 12, the number of contours, for example, like this. And as well, for the contour text color, contour line color, you can select every color that you want at this step. For example, blue is better. And the style of your for the style of your draw, you can select dash, solid, dash dot, and like this. And after that, play contour. Okay, I don't select the number. He's like, for example, for the period, I want to click for example, the 14, like this. Okay, and after that, play contour. You can see the contour of the graph, and as well you can select everything that you want for this other settings here. If you want to select a domain of your data, you can click on use domain, and after that start, for example, from the 5 day up to, for example, like this, everything that you want. And after that, contour. and you can see this some of them. If you want to use summation of the data, you can click the summation of your domain, and after that you can see here like an area because you click summation. For the heat graph as well, we can see the settings here and the value. You can select everything that you want for example, for one of the day, one of the time, or maybe for a domain of the time. For example, start for example from 5 up to, for example, this one, and after that click for the colors. Black is routine, and you should at this step, it is so important because you should to add some different heat color. For example, I prefer start from this saturation and add color. You can do it with a higher saturation at this step, and for example this one, add it. Depends on your selection. Is it gonna be so, I mean that it depends on your idea. And the other like this, I add it, I select for example 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 of color, and after that click plot heat graph and the heat map. You can see the heat map with a legend bar here, and it's gonna be good and useful for drawing in a paper, in a report. It should be nice for you. Okay, finally I want to say that this tool, I mean the NetCDF Extractor 2.1 has been developed for a big domain of data and sources of data file, but it has some limitation. As you see, when we calculate a grid number of data here, so you should calculate it with this tool. But when we face with this problem, AgriMetSoft decided to calculate to develop another tool with name of OpenNC file. Actually, OpenNC file is so easiest and better than NetCDF tool, and the user doesn't need to knowledge about NC files and other, I mean that information about these files. It is so easiest, and you can use it without calculation grid number, and the tool do it for you. Okay, I hope this video is useful for you, and you can and I hope you can easily use it in your project and research. And just this, have a nice day guys. Bye.